At the University of Lincoln, we recognise that change is coming, and we're preparing our students to lead that change. That means a great student experience underpinned by world-class research. With our students, we're solving global challenges in fields like health, energy, agriculture and climate. So come to an open day and be the change.
Good evening and welcome to our very last Lincoln Live Lounge. This evening is all about securing your place at the University of Lincoln, with the deadline day being the 26th of January. And I just want to say a big hi to Abby and to, well, lots of people are already saying hi already. So Abby, I think, was the first one here, and Ollie, Maria, who else have we got? Danny, Darren, Maria, all sorts of people. So please tell us where you are watching from. That would be great. Which school you're currently at and what stage you're at. Or have you got your application in, or is this going to be really helpful for you? I'm joined by Caroline Connell, who is our expert in university applications here at the University of Lincoln, and is the deputy. No, tell me what your actual title is, Caroline.
Deputy Head of Student Administration. Hi, Emma.
Hi. So we're going to kick off with some questions. We've also got Mitchell. So if you've watched other of our other live lounges in the last couple of weeks, you will have met Mitchell already. He's going to reassure you how easy, as we get down the track, how easy it is to secure your place with universities. So the first question I have for you, Caroline, really is, and please ask your questions, ask any questions that you have. We're really keen so that we can help you out tonight. Ella, you're in Bedfordshire, which is exciting, and we've got an unconditional offer already. Well, we are going to talk about unconditional offers tonight, so that's really helpful that some of you have got unconditional offers already, so that's really exciting. So the first question, Caroline, is, in this normal cycle, when is the deadline date for applications and where should we be at?
Yeah, so what we call the on-time deadline, so it's really the first deadline, it is coming up fairly quickly. So it's going to be Wednesday, the 26th of January. So not long, believe it or not. Once we get through Christmas, that deadline tends to come up really, really quickly. And this is what we call an on-time deadline. So it basically means that if you submit your application by that date, then universities have to give you what we call equal consideration. So in other words, we can't just say next week, sorry, we're full up, we're closing for applications. So as long as you apply by that date, then we will give you your application equal consideration. Now, if you miss that deadline, it's not the end of the world, because if we still have vacancies, and we probably will do on most of our courses, you can apply right up until the end of June if you want to. So just for those people who just don't feel quite ready yet, you can wait. Although I would say some courses do fill up really quickly. So obviously we've closed now for medicine, that deadline was much earlier. But for courses like nursing, midwifery, paramedic science, we do tend to fill up and close just after that January deadline. But for most other courses, there will be a few vacancies. So you still have got time, because they're big decisions, and we'll probably talk about that in a bit more detail later on this evening. So yes, we've got just over 4-5 weeks before the deadline.
That's amazing. So we've already had lots of questions or lots of comments already. So thank you for all of those. Amy, you've got an unconditional offer for law. So, and there's lots of people that seem to have got unconditional offers. So we're talking about conditional, unconditional offers and offers in general. What can we expect, and how, when we receive an offer, what sort of things can we expect? So, you know, if we've applied, we're waiting for an offer, what sort of responses are we likely to expect?
Yeah, so perhaps I'll just start by talking about what happens when you submit your application and it actually comes to us, and just about how long it takes for us to make a decision. So for courses that don't have an interview, or a portfolio, or an audition, that that application will be considered by our admissions team, and usually we can make a decision really quite quickly, so within a week. So hopefully if you're submitting now, you're hearing fairly quickly from us, and we can see some people have got offers already, which is fantastic. If you're applying for a course that might interview, or you're going to have to submit a portfolio of work, or come for an audition, that will take a little bit longer, because obviously we'll want to give you some notice about when to come in for that. So that can take 3 or 4 weeks before you finally get to hear whether or not you've had an offer. So that's a little bit about how long it might take for you to hear back from us. Hopefully we will be able to make you an offer at some point on your application. And there's two different types of applications, two different types of offers that we can make you. So we'll start off with unconditional offers, and there are two types of unconditional offers. So the first one might be for applicants who perhaps have already done their examination. So you might have done your A levels or your BTECs last year, or even a few years ago. And if that's the case and you meet the entry requirements, we make you an unconditional offer. Now, there's a second type of unconditional offer that we do at Lincoln, and this is something that we call a guaranteed placement program, places program. And this is where we're looking to make unconditional offers to exceptional students based on the quality of their application. Now, that includes things like looking at predicted grades, personal statements, and references. And if we feel that you could make a significant contribution to Lincoln and your studies here based on that application, then we are able to make you an unconditional offer. And probably we've seen some people have got unconditional offers now, so that might be what's happened with you, which is fantastic. So if you have an unconditional offer, that means your place is guaranteed and there's nothing else that you need to do, so your place is secure. Now, the second type of offer that we do make can be a conditional offer, and that usually is based on you achieving certain results in your qualifications. So you're probably in the middle of studying your qualifications and waiting for your results. And if it's okay, Emma, I was just going to talk a little bit about what conditional offers from Lincoln might actually look like, and just try and explain what we mean by them, because we get lots and lots of questions from applicants about what this might be. So if you're applying, so let's say for a business program and you were studying your qualifications at the moment, we probably would make you an offer, and it would look something along the lines of you would need to achieve 112 UCAS tariff points. Now that equates to you getting a B, and a C in your A levels. But one of the things that we just really want to explain to applicants is that you can use a variety of things to reach that 112 points. So you could get ACC, but also if you're doing other qualifications. So a good example would be if you're doing an EPQ, you can use the tariff points from your EPQ to make up the 112 points. So that's something that we really wanted to sort of get across to people, because they do ask us. So an example would be, let's just say you got a B in your EPQ, so that's worth 20 tariff points. You would actually only need to get 3 Cs from your A level, because those 4 things together make up the 112 points. So there's lots of different things that you can use. An EPQ is just one example. Core maths, there's all sorts of other qualifications that you might be doing alongside your A levels or your BTEC. So that's just a bit of extra explanation about that, because we do get asked a lot of questions about that.
And if somebody is unsure, which there's all sorts of comments, so it's great. I'm so excited. Lots of you are watching on YouTube. So hi to everybody, and we will get to many of your questions very soon. If somebody's unsure about their qualifications, I guess A levels are fairly straightforward and BTECs. But if they're unsure about what an EPQ can add, is it best to sort of email the admissions team just to sort of clarify?
Absolutely. I think one of the nice things about doing these sorts of events is to say to people that, you know, we do understand this is probably the first time you ever had to make an application to university, and it can be confusing because every university asks for something slightly different. It's not a standard model for everybody. So if you're not sure, contact our admissions team. That's what they're here to do. They're here to answer your questions. They're experts in all types of qualifications. We talk about A levels and BTECs, but we have lots of access students. We have people doing all sorts of qualifications from all over the world. So just contact them. You can contact them by email, and the banner's going across the bottom there, or you can ring us. We're open during office hours, and just ask, because those sorts of questions are really important when you're coming to actually trying to decide which offer you're going to accept. So if you've got any concerns, any doubts, please just ask, and hopefully we can answer some questions tonight as well.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what we're here for. So I'm delighted that lots of you have got unconditional offers already, which is brilliant. And I also, Mia Mills has asked a question about accepting your offer on UCAS. So we will get to that. So please don't panic about that. And also I can see that there is a question, and I've lost who it's from. I think it's from Gabby, about the offer holder days. And so we're just going to bring that out about, because I think there was a couple of people, but definitely one there about offer holder days. Offer holder days will be held starting from the 5th of February. So depending on which subject that you've applied for. And once you receive your offer from us, which as Caroline said, we're working through very swiftly every single day at the moment, you will get the opportunity to be invited into one of those offer holder days, which will be Saturdays starting from the 5th of February. So that will give you an opportunity to sort of really taste and have a real feel for the subject area. And thank you about my comment about my Christmas tree. That's I'm very proud of it. Thank you very much. So we've also got a question about somebody has got, and I've lost, we've got so many questions, it's amazing. You're all watching on YouTube, which is great, but somebody's got a paramedic science interview tomorrow. And I do know that thank you, our producer Olivia is helping us out very well. I know you've been interviewing today, actually, Caroline. So are there any top tips if you've got sort of interviews, which you're going to feel a little bit nervous about, understandably?
Yeah, absolutely. And paramedic science is such a popular course. So Chloe, well done on getting your interview. I'm sure you'll be absolutely fine. But I think my advice would be for you to have a really good look at our website. So go to the paramedic science website, because it will talk to you about the selection process, and it will talk to you very much about what to expect in an interview. So I think it's really important for you to do as much research as you possibly can do. There is so much online that you can find out. I appreciate you haven't got a huge amount of time now. I was going to suggest it's always useful if you know anybody that works within the NHS, have a chat with them about that, whether it's they're a paramedic or doing something else in the NHS. But do research this. There will be things online. Obviously, the NHS is in the news a lot at the moment, so use those tools that you've got available just to get that background information, because one of the things that they will want to know is why you want to be a paramedic and what interests you about that subject, but also why you want to do that subject as well. So just do as much research as you possibly can tonight about the subject, about the NHS, and that will help you hopefully feel more prepared for some of the questions that you may get tomorrow. But best of luck with it. I'm sure you'll be fine.
Yeah, good luck, Chloe. I'm absolutely certain you'll be fine. And you're doing all the right things by tuning in and finding out absolutely everything that you need to do. We've got a question from Mia Mills, and she asked, how do you accept your offer on UCAS? So, all of those people that have got conditional and unconditional offers pre-Christmas is fantastic. And so it's really, what's the next step, I guess? Okay. How do we accept these offers?
Yeah, so when you come to actually accept an offer, and perhaps we'll talk a bit a bit later about how you actually make that decision, because that's another really important step in this journey. But for those of you that are in the process of applying or have applied, you'll have created a UCAS account, and you'll have access to something called UCAS Track, and that is where you manage all of your choices. So that will be where you go to see what's happening with each of your applications, depending on how many you've made. You'll see from that where your offers come in, and it's in there that you will actually go and actually accept your place. You really need to wait until perhaps you've got all of your offers, unless you're absolutely sure where you want to go. But usually you'll wait till the offers come in, and then you'll go on to Track and accept them. And again, Emma, I think we might touch on what your choices are for accepting and declining and things like that. So you have got up until May to make a decision on your offers, but you can make those decisions as soon as they're in. So a lot of people will decide once their offers are in and you know where you want to go, you don't need to wait. You want to get in and accept it. But you do, if you're not sure, and again, we were saying earlier, these are massive decisions and you need that time. Take that time. There is no pressure on you to accept that offer. Nobody is going to withdraw that offer from you. So take your time and make the right decision. But if you're sure, then you can go ahead and do it as soon as all your offers are in. Excuse me.
Fabulous. I'm just going to pick up a question from Owen. Owen has said, when should I apply for student finance? Now, last week, so you can go back and watch back our live lounge from last week, but that was all about student finance. And student finance isn't open until February 2022, so you can't actually apply for student finance yet, but that doesn't stop you accepting your offer at your university. So please go ahead, as Caroline said, and in your own time make sure that you accept that. You don't need to wait to apply for student finance, if that makes sense. Student finance will not open until February. So we've got loads more questions, so let me take another question. Somebody has asked, I've received a conditional offer for accountancy and need to get, it's James, this is. So hi James, thank you. I need to get 120 UCAS points. I was wondering if my music qualifications can add to my UCAS points.
Unfortunately not. So if you were doing a drama or a music-based course, James, then yes, we would. But unfortunately, we don't accept them for accountancy. If you're doing anything else, if you're doing core maths or EPQ or ASDAN COPE or something like that, then yes, we will. But I'm sorry, but the music ones don't count for this course.
Amazing. And we've had a couple of questions about accommodation. So Amy has asked about accommodation. When do we find out about accommodation? And I think somebody else has asked when they can apply for accommodation. Accommodation is open. So as soon as you sort of choose Lincoln as your first choice, then you can apply for our accommodation. Our accommodation is open and the whole range of accommodation is open, and go on to lincoln.ac.uk to have a look at the range and the budget that you have for Lincoln accommodation. But you can do that as soon as you make your sort of firm and insurance choice, which Caroline had sort of said, once you accept your offer, really, I guess, is the main thing for that. We've had a couple of questions about postgraduate subjects. Now, the majority of our conversation today is obviously around undergrad and applying through UCAS. So those of you that are watching and you are applying for postgrad courses, then please, our admissions team are here and they will help you out. So if you've got any queries, please email on admissions@lincoln.ac.uk if you've got any individual sort of queries about postgraduate studies, particularly for those that you're thinking starting in February next year as well. And the team of experts will most definitely help you out with that. Emma,
should I just mention about firm and insurance? Would that be helpful?
Please. Yeah, it's going to be my next question, because that might be a foreign language and people might not know what on earth we're talking about with firm and insurance. yeah,
we
please.
were just talking about when to make your offers, sorry, when to make your decisions, and when you are ready to make the decisions to your offers, you basically will need to choose one, what we call firm choice. So this is basically your first choice. I don't know why they don't call it that, but I think UCAS terminology refers to it as your firm choice. So this is where you're hoping to go and study next year. You can also choose what we call an insurance choice. So this is your backup choice should you not get into your first choice. So I think it's important to say you can't flip between the two. Your insurance choice will only ever come into force if you don't get into your firm choice for whatever reason. You don't have to have one, it's entirely up to you, but it's good to have a backup plan. So we usually suggest that you have perhaps an insurance choice that's got slightly lower entry requirements, just in case you don't get in there. But it's not the end of the world if you don't have an insurance choice, because there are other options for you further down the line. And then for all of your other offers, you would have to decline them. So that's the process that you do. So eventually you end up with one firm choice and one insurance choice. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. I've been talking too much today. So,
Not a problem. Ella, you have asked a question, and I think several of you have asked this earlier on, so I apologise if I'm not getting to all of your questions. If I get an unconditional, does that mean I don't need to get the grades? How does it work? It's a really good question, Ella.
It is a really good question. So Ella, what we've done is we've looked at your application form and we've looked at the predicted grades that your teachers have said that you're going to get. So we've made our assessment based on that, your personal statement and your reference. We won't be asking you to do anything else. So we won't be checking what your exam results are when they come in the summer. But I think it's really important to say to all applicants that your A-levels or your BTECs, whatever you're doing now, it's really important that you carry on studying to complete those qualifications, not only because it'll prepare you to come and do a degree. You know, you need to have done this level of education to be successful on one of our degrees, and also for your CV later on. You know, hopefully you'll have a degree from us, but employers will still want to look at your A-levels, your BTECs. So it is really important that although we won't be checking what grades you get, that you still go on and do well. And our experience of doing this is that those applicants do go on and do really well and get their predicted grades, and quite often higher. But yes, so hopefully that answers your question.
They absolutely do. Thank you, Caroline. Amy has just asked another question. Sorry, Amy, I seem to be grabbing your questions all the time, about when do you hear where you live, when you will be, when you know which accommodation you're in. That's a little bit further down the line, so that's towards the summer when those allocations are sort of given. There's so many people on the chat, Caroline, that are so fortunate in the fact that they've got amazing predicted grades and have got unconditional offers, but it doesn't always work like that for everybody. So what happens if actually we're watching and we're quite worried that our predicted grades being put on these applications are not quite as good as we thought, or we just fall short of our predicted grades, and we're just what sort of options are there at the University of Lincoln for that?
Yeah. So this is about if you have a conditional offer based on getting the 112 UCAS points that we were talking about, and sometimes things don't go quite right for whatever reason. Hopefully that won't be the case for you, but it is something that a lot of applicants worry about, and we completely understand that, especially over the last couple of years and the experiences everybody has had. So when it comes to looking at your exam results to see whether or not you meet those entry requirements, we will be as flexible as we possibly can for the majority of our subjects. There are some exceptions. Medicine is one of them, obviously, but we're usually able, if you drop a grade, we're usually able to take you. So that's something just to try and just reassure people that will happen. And obviously other qualifications we've talked about will take into account as well. if the worst came to the worst and you really did drop a few grades, then there are other alternatives that we can offer you sometimes as well. So things like foundation courses, but the admissions team will work really, really hard to look at an alternative for you. But just to try and reassure people that we will be as flexible as we possibly can be.
Thank you, Caroline. And for anybody watching, I'm sorry, I think I'm slightly lagging. So my Wi-Fi must not be very good tonight. So I apologise for that. Ella has asked a question, and we will, don't worry, we are going to meet Mitchell very shortly, so we can go through actually his experience of accepting an offer and all of those things, which will be really helpful. But there is a question here from Ella about how does clearing work? Well, clearing doesn't happen until August, but it is quite helpful just to sort of touch on that, I think.
Yeah, so clearing, you may be aware of it or not. Clearing is something that happens once students get their exam results in the summer, and it's a period where universities advertise any vacancies that they have. So some people will use it if they don't get into their first choice for whatever reason, but lots of applicants we find tend to use it because they've changed their minds. So again, for everybody, if you come to the point next year when you've made your decisions, you're thinking, oh, I've really made the wrong decision, I really wish I'd gone to Lincoln or somewhere else, clearing is a sort of a second chance to come back to that course that perhaps you missed to begin with. And there'll be lots of adverts on our web pages towards that point for you to get in touch with us. But it's really helpful if you're not sure, because again, you know, they're big decisions and you need to make sure that they're the right ones. But it's another chance to find a place just before the term starts. But there'll be lots of information about that later on in the year, so we'll keep in touch with everyone about that.
We absolutely will. We'll definitely keep in touch with you all the way through this process. So please don't panic. We will communicate with you all the way so that you are very much informed. We've got a question just from Abby, just before we nip to Mitchell, about the fact that on her application, she has put an unconditional, I've submitted my application, got an unconditional, so congratulations, that's fantastic. Said I'm living at home, but I actually will be moving away. I emailed admissions, but does this change my application?
No, Abby, not at all. But the one thing I would say is just make sure you update your new address with UCAS. So just so we know where your address is going to be. But no, it won't make any difference to your application at all.
Yeah, I think somebody else has sort of said that that's happened to them as well. But
yeah,
please,
it's an easy mistake to do. Yeah,
and obviously you change your mind. You know, we've been in a pandemic. We're still in a pandemic, and actually the thoughts of moving away from home, those thoughts, either living at home or moving away, change during this application cycle. So please don't panic about that. That's totally normal. But there is the flexibility of changing that. And Charlie is asked about when can you apply for accommodation, and our accommodation is open now, so you absolutely can apply for accommodation as soon as you make us a firm or an insurance choice. That's fine, Abby. That's still fine. You will be living in accommodation. That's absolutely fine. Just make sure that you just make that amendment with UCAS on your application, but that's not a problem at all. So I'm going to swiftly move on. Is there anything else, Caroline, as a top tip that you would give to any applicants currently sort of about to enter either an interview or about to submit their application?
I mean, I think that there is so much information available on our website about not only about the course, the subject, what the selection process is, what to expect for an interview. So I would encourage everyone just to read the course page for whichever course that they're applying for. But I would also really strongly recommend that you come and visit if you haven't been able to do already. I think visiting a university is probably one of the best things you'll do, because you'll really get a feel of whether it's the right place for you or not. And it's very difficult to do it virtually. I think the people that come to our open days have such a great time, and you really do need to come and see it for yourself. But also talk to people that you know that have come to Lincoln before. You know, get their experiences of what it is. If anyone's been here or here at the moment, you can make contact with students that are here already. So just talk to as many people as you can about just trying to make sure that you know you've made the right decision and picked the right course and university. And just get in touch with us, please do. We've got a really lovely admissions team. They're really friendly, and they'll be really happy to answer any questions that you've got. That's what they're here to do. So please get in touch.
Absolutely. We're going to invite Mitchell into the chat now, Caroline, just so we can talk through his sort of experience. And while Olivia is bringing Mitchell in, thank you, I'm just going to answer a couple of questions. Amy, I think, and Emma have asked numerous times. I'm sorry if I've not picked this out before. Do courses start in September? And when do new undergraduate degree students move into their accommodation? So, Emma, our term starts at the very end of September, Caroline, I believe, doesn't it? Just check.
I think it is, yes.
A nice little cockapoo there. And actually, you will move in that week prior. So it's an absolute organisational structure in order to get all of our students here at Lincoln, and it takes about the week prior to term starting. So depending on what accommodation you live in, they will gradually move you in during that time. And Amy has asked a question. She has applied for nursing, which, as we know, nursing is one of those subjects that we would invite for interview. And how long does it usually take to find out if you've got an interview? Caroline, can you give a very rough sort of guess?
Yeah. The nursing suite of programs that we have are our most popular, and we are getting to the most busiest time. So we are literally having hundreds and hundreds of applications in at the moment. We're working through them as quickly as we can. It's probably taking us about a couple of weeks to get through those, and just make sure, Amy, that you check your emails just in case we're waiting for something from you, because that can sometimes hold the process up a little bit. So just check that. But it's taking sort of between 2 and 3 weeks where you should hear from us, and then we'll tell you when you have an interview.
Fab. Right, Mitchell, hi. We've got lots and lots of questions, and we will come to some of those and ask your sort of experience about how you sort of made friends and people that you connected with before starting with us. You're in the third year of a history degree, which is amazing. And I want to know, as an applicant, because me and Caroline have worked at the university for so long, that actually it's good to have an experienced person who has actually accepted their offer. So how easy was it? Just talk us through what you did and when you made your choice, and what sort of considerations you put into place.
Yeah, again, I applied, I think it was 5 universities through UCAS track. Again, obviously it takes a few weeks obviously then to process. I must get an email through when they've been updated. I'd log on to UCAS track. I assume it's still the same format as it was when I did it. But again, there's a long kind of list, all the universities, your course. Again, you can kind of read through the offers. Again, I waited until I got all mine in before I made a decision. I visited Lincoln on open day, and pretty much from there I was fairly certain I was going to choose Lincoln. But again, I did wait. I had a look through, had a look back on the course, what they offered, kind of had another sort of think, really sat down, and then yeah, I put Lincoln as my firm choice, and that was that really.
And how? So literally, it's as simple as going back onto your UCAS track and clicking the right sort of choice.
Yeah, again, obviously,
it's as simple as that.
Yeah, again, I used to get an email every time it was updated, every time university had sort of sent me an offer or kind of whatever it was. Again, you log on, your first page was all the kind of university you should apply to, all the courses listed there. Again, you could read through the offer, then what they'd offer you, unconditional, condition. Again, a few of mine varied. Again, I waited till they all came in and then picked my firm choice once they'd all come in. I had a sort of long, hard think about them all. Again, I visited a few of them. So I kind of made my decision that way.
So your advice is to always keep checking your email. So whichever email you put down, your application,
Yeah.
needs to
Again,
be
just
one
keep
that
your eye on
you
it, especially, again, that kind of few week period, keep your eye on it, because again, some are quicker, some are slower. I had a few of mine come through fairly quickly, and a few of my later options came through a good few weeks later. Again, keep logging on to UCAS Track. I used to kind of every week just keep an eye on the system, whether I've got sort of notifications, emails, things like that. So I used to do that regularly.
Amazing, thank you. And once you decided which course you were doing, did you attend an offer holder day? Lots of people are asking about offer holder days and chances to come back to visit us. Did you come on an offer holder day at all, or had
I
you
did,
decided? You did.
Again, the open day for me pretty much confirmed everything I wanted to know. I was kind of fairly sold really then. Again, I did come to the offer holder day. Again, gave me a chance to have another look around. Obviously, kind of see the teaching. Again, just having another chance to look around the accommodation, look around the sort of Lincoln as a city itself, which I found kind of really useful. Again, I said I was fairly solidified in Lincoln, but that kind of really did sort of nail it down then.
And just tell the audience, where in the country were you travelling from, or where is home?
I'm from Norwich originally, so not too far, about 2.5 hours away. Obviously, the roads make it a bit more difficult. But again, it was a nice distance from me. It was far enough away from home. I kind of had my own space. It was a new city for me, kind of a new experience. But again, equally, I was close enough that if I did want to go home, obviously Lincoln's got really good train links. Again, so that was what I kind of picked for me.
Fab. And your experience for Lincoln, did you have an unconditional offer that you accepted, or was it a conditional offer?
I had a conditional offer from Lincoln. Again, I applied to a few. I think most of mine were conditional, I believe, when I applied. Again, obviously didn't quite go to plan on results day. But again, I contacted the admissions team. They were really helpful. Like straight away, I got my kind of queries answered. So even then, they didn't quite go to plan on my kind of results day. Again, the admissions team was really helpful. I couldn't kind of fault them at all, really.
So that's just going back to the question we had about clearing and that result day in August. That's perfect, really.
Yeah.
Actually, if you are sat, even there's lots of people with unconditional offers tonight. Actually, there will be lots of people that are still getting conditional offers from us, obviously and understandably. And sometimes it doesn't go according to plan, but you are living proof that by ringing the amazing admissions team that we have, we can help you out with that, which Caroline does very easily, and we make sure that happens, don't we, Caroline?
Yeah, and we have a really big team that comes together in August, because obviously we have thousands of students coming to join us, so we have an extra big team on hand, especially to answer those questions, because it's it's quite a stressful time, isn't it, Mitchell, for you, if things don't go quite right and you just want to talk to somebody straight away and get an answer and not have to wait. So we try really hard just to make sure that we've got the right number of staff in there. So hopefully, Mitchell, you managed to get through quite quickly, and we managed to just give you that reassurance that your place was secure.
Yeah.
Just a stressful hour or so, I guess. But we
Yeah,
resolved for you.
Yeah, stressful experience. But
which we can't promise we would do for everybody, but we have so many other options for different sort of programs or alternative programs at Lincoln that actually we will do our utmost to ensure that you do get to Lincoln if we possibly can get you here, don't we? So when you were sold on Lincoln, and lots of people have sort of asked about how they meet roommates or once they've chosen their accommodation, things like that. Did you embark on any of the initiatives that we have on social media, like Friends for Life, or probably when you arrived we didn't have Unibuddy, but some of the platforms? Did you sort of connect with other people that were already applicants on history?
I don't know if it still runs, is Student Room. I looked on there quite a bit initially, just kind of looked around what Lincoln was like, what people were saying about it, what kind of people said about my course, what kind of things they did. I used that quite a bit initially, kind of in my sort of initial sort of search. When I got to university, my accommodation, I joined, I think it was a Facebook group at the time, which was all my kind of block. And kind of from there, everyone kind of sort of located themselves. So I was in a Facebook kind of group with my friend I lived with in first year, sort of a good 3 or 4 weeks before. So we kind of got talking, we kind of got to know each other a little bit. It was quite nice to have together and kind of been able to recognise, obviously not faces per se, but kind of had a little bit of talk. It kind of broke the ice a little bit, as opposed to kind of going in completely sort of blind. I kind of roughly knew who my housemates were, where they were from, kind of what they did, which was really handy, really nice.
And it just connects you. And especially if I just take the last question in about do we physically have to tend our offer holder days? Well, thankfully, we've thought of that, and we have got a virtual offer holder day alongside. So in the mix, we've also got a virtual one. So that means that you won't miss out on anything. Because I understand travelling from Northern Ireland is probably a little trickier than travelling up the A17 from Norwich. And also, just as Mitchell has said, connect with people that are likely to be on your course, living in your accommodation, so that you can get a feel for people, and you can sort of get to know them a little bit online, can't you, without physically sort of attending the university before you have to, which is really helpful. Thank you to Olivia. For those people that haven't had a chance to come to Lincoln already, we've got a lot. We've got some more visit days to be able to come up. So whilst our big open days have finished for the season, we've got the 12th of January and the 19th of January. You can book online to those, and also on Open Campus on Saturday the 15th of January, or before the 26th of January, a deadline, so that you can come and have a look and come and have a walk round and probably meet Mitchell, who works with us as a student ambassador, and probably walk around. So Emma, as we're getting towards the end, so I'm going to ask, there's two questions that I'm going to pick up because I realise that we're now at 5:45. So Daniel has asked the question, Mitchell, have you gotten involved with any sports clubs or society? And if so, are there any thoughts and comments on them?
I didn't, unfortunately. That's kind of my probably biggest regret, really. Kind of in first year, I kind of got swept up in everything, really. I think the first couple of weeks, obviously it was a new city. I was kind of living on my own. I kind of got swept up, I think, in kind of all the kind of sort of experiences, really. But again, I wish I had. Again, I went to a few trials. Badminton, I think I went to a few of the taste sessions for other sports. Again, other societies, I kind of went for to tasters for. But again, I'd say, yeah, give everything a go. Again, there's lots of sports that I'd never heard of, didn't realise existed until I went to Lincoln. And again, they're a really good place to kind of meet people, again, on your course or off your course. I know people I live with used to do kind of sports and social ones. They used to kind of go out regularly. I knew someone used to play in the Bucks leagues for one of the sports teams. So again, it was a really good way to kind of make friends, or just generally kind of escape from the academic side a little bit and have kind of a bit of sort of, time away, which is really nice. Again, I'd wish I had done, but unfortunately I didn't in my time.
But it's that's a lesson learned, and that's why we're sort of chatting to you. So everybody that's watching sort of gets involved straight away as soon as they arrive, because we're quite a friendly bunch at Lincoln. So the SU particularly are very helpful in getting you involved in stuff at Freshers Week. Emma, final question, and a very good question. You're not cheeky at all. The University of Lincoln does send out, once you make your firm choice, a University of Lincoln hoodie. This year, I can, as a preview, let you know that they are grey hoodies again, and they will be going out after Christmas. So they're all being prepared and arriving ready to go out after Christmas. So as soon as you've made your choice, they will start to be shipped out in January. So absolutely, you can sort of walk around in pride in your University of Lincoln hoodie. Emma has asked another question. Is there a swimming club, and would be interested in joining if there is one? Yes, there is. We don't, unfortunately, have our own swimming pool on site on our campus, but we do have very favourable rates with a local swimming pool, and I believe there is a swimming club. I don't know if you know anybody that is in a swimming club, Mitchell, at all, with any of your friends.
No, I think someone I knew trialled for them. There was a couple of places I think they trained at, but again, they were fairly sort of localish, and they did used to go, again, sort of take part quite a lot.
Amazing, thank you. So I'm going to wrap up, and if there is anything that you would, if there's any final sort of comments, Caroline, anything that we've not pulled out that you think we should have said, please say now.
I think our advice would be just keep an eye on UCAS Track. That's probably the best place for you to go, just so you can manage and know what's going on with each of your applications. And that's really good at telling you when you need to make decisions. So we've spoken a little bit about deadlines, but just keep looking on that, because if you get something like an interview or an offer, or you need to respond, that's where you're going to need to do it. So I mean, it's not the end of the world if you miss a deadline. We'll sort that out for you, but that's where you can go just to see where everything is happening with your application. And just check your emails as well, because as Emma said, we'll keep in contact with you regularly, let you know if we need any additional information, and we'll just keep in touch with you and just let you know what's happening with us at Lincoln. So just keep an eye on those two things.
And Mitchell, if we were to go back sort of 3 years, well, 4 years, I guess, is there any advice at this stage that you would give those people watching tonight?
I kind of say, don't panic. You know what I mean? Don't kind of, take your time with things. Have a good look. Go to open days, go to offer holder days. Because at the end of the day, it's going to be your home for the next 3 years. So you really want to make sure it's your definite option. That would be my kind of sort of key tips, really.
Absolutely. So please come and visit us. We have informal visit days throughout the whole sort of cycle. Come to our offer holder days if you're fortunate to be holding an offer with us, and just connect with every sort of platform, an applicant sort of platform that you can, so you're as well informed as possible. Thank you so much, Caroline and Mitchell. I'm so pleased that you've joined me tonight, and hopefully in the new year we can do a few more of these, so that we can talk about a little bit more about student life at Lincoln, and as we sort of progress through the application cycle. But thank you so much, and thank you everybody for watching. I apologize for not being able to grab all of the questions. There's so many tonight, so that is really and just to sort of say, if it's an unconditional, yes, you will still get a hoodie, but you need to make us a firm choice. So please, that is the big takeaway from today. Once you've got your offer, you have to go back and make those choices from us. So thank you for that. And we look forward to seeing many of you in Welcome Week in September. Have a very good Christmas and good night.
Good night, everybody. Happy Christmas.